associated with that. That ain't no easy stuff now. Come on, y'all. It takes some pain. It's pain to tell yourself no.
For real.
It's pain to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to wait. It's painful to tell yourself to be quiet.
Yes.
It's painful.
Yes.
And that's just small heart pains. It's painful when you want something really bad and you cannot have it. It's painful. But it's just the result of sin.
Yeah. Wow.
It's the result of sin. And we established a couple of weeks ago, what is sin? Sin is anything that's not faith. Now, we look at sin, and we look at sin from the perspective that, you're out here whoremongering, and you're out here doing this and doing that. Yeah, that's superficial sin. But that is not why you're sinning. Deep down on the inside, there's a brokenness that's inside you that needs to be repaired. And restored. Whatever your outward manifestation is, whatever that over excessive behavior is in our lives, is not the behavior that we see, is what's on the inside of us.
Wow.
And we have to know what that is. You got to name it. That's why Jesus looked at the legion and he said, "You're legion. Come on out of here." You and I got to name what's going on with us. We can't hide it no more. If we know that we are hurting from a childhood issue, name it. If you know that you and I are hurting because of somebody that violated you, name it. If you're hurting, but whatever that is, name it so that you'll know that it's going to come in all different forms. And when it comes in all different forms, you got to know your enemy to fight it. Because when it comes looking over here in this beautiful, scrumptious man, then I got to figure out, wait a minute, what's all in that? Anybody? Any women? Any not married women? I'm not looking at Elder Mayfield or Cheryl, looking at the rest of us. We got to know. We got to know when different things come your way, you got to know what's in that package. Because it may not be what you think it is. But you got to know yourself that once you start seeing signs of it, you got to say, okay, now I already know I'm gullible to this. I already know I'm addictive to this, right? I already know that if this come any closer, Brother Marvin, I'm going to have to, you may have to be like Joseph and run, Forrest, run. Hallelujah. So she says that I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception in pain. Everybody has to birth through something in their life. We're talking the woman, but the woman in this instance represents the church. Everybody's got to break through something in their life, and it's something that's going to be very difficult. And I wanted to take another time to show this photo again of the loop. That's your brain. It almost reminds me when they said, well, that's your brain on drugs. It's not, because it's branded well, right? Yeah. This is your brain, and in your brain are all of these connectors and networking and pulses and all impulses and all of that stuff. But they're all formed from repetitive thought. And things that's been locked inside your brain. That's why many people will say you do that just like your dad, and you don't even have to know your dad. It's inside you, right? It's DNA that's inside you. So that means if you cannot know your father, not even be in his presence, not know your mom, not even be in her presence, and some of their kinfolk say, but you act just like them, that lets you know that there's a narrative already in your brain.
Wow.
And if you're not careful to hear how you think, you will create your world based on your thoughts. And you will begin to respond in everything that you do based on what you feel. And you sit there and say, anytime, have you ever been at a place in your life where you sat back and you said, I don't even know why I did that? Where did that come from? It's in your thought. I was telling my sister, I used to smoke when I was in my late 20s, and for a long time, the cigarette smoke just came in my mouth. I could taste like a cigarette, right? But it's because it's in this, and every time it comes up, either I'm going to go out and buy a pack of cigarettes, or I'm going to speak to it and say, listen, I don't smoke no more. Anybody can just say to yourself, I don't do that no more. I'm not going to do that anymore. I know you're there because you're embedded in my loop. You're embedded in my network. You're embedded in the things that I've thought about for years, but I'm not going to do that anymore because I know there's something greater inside me. And I know you're my enemy.
Yes.
I know you're the thing that's going to set me off. And so I got to be willing to run away from the thing that's going to set me off.
That's right. That's right.
Are we good?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right, Pastor.
So I'm not my thoughts. My thoughts are not me. And I just found this image. Talks about all that could be your thoughts, and I just want to name a few. It talks about being exhausted and sad and feeling like you're a failure, walking in your problem, living in a guilt, walking in stress, feeling sorrowful, living in a crisis, feeling remorseful, feeling rejected or dejected, feeling unhappy. All of these things are all in this network loop. All of that is in there. Wow. And so, in order for you and I to understand, we got to know that our thoughts are not us. And so I looked up this word disillusion. The disillusion, how many of you know that you can feel disillusion in life? Yes, and disillusionment is the feeling of disappointment when you resulting from the discovery of something is not as good as one believed it to be.
Wow.
And how many of you know that each of us go through times in our life where we think it's not as good as we thought it would be? Anybody said, and I was talking, who was I talking to? Some young person, and they said, you know what? No, I was talking to TJ. Please keep him in prayer. I was talking to TJ. He said, you know, Mama, I just didn't think things were going to be like this. I says, well, you have your own path, and it's been carved out for you. So whatever's happening is part of your path. But I understand that we're disillusioned in our life because we think that when things don't work out, then that means that it's not going to be good for us. But I want to tell you, don't live disillusioned about this war that you're in right now. Don't be caught up in that, because that ain't it. That's just there to make you. That's not here for you to become anything else other than being made. Hallelujah. And so God is really allowing you to understand that that you are disillusioned. Can somebody say amen?
Amen.
So disillusionment create a 43 experience. Tell somebody, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Like, what in the world why is disillusionment a 43 experience? I want to tell with you, you're either going to live in your prison for 40 years, or you're going to get out in 3 days. Can somebody say amen? Anybody? Listen. I just want to share with you that the people in Israel had a 43 experience in their life. There were those that stayed in the wilderness for about 40 years. Why? Because they were so stuck in their understanding of living in their appetites as opposed to trusting the trials that God was taking them through. Can I tell you that God is allowing trials to come in your life just to make your journey shorter? It's never been meant to make it a long journey. It's only been meant to make your journey shorter. And so many of us live in the place of complaining, live in the place of thinking, God, why did this happen to me? Why? Because we don't understand the art of war. The art of war says your opponent is coming at you. And so the people stayed there complaining in 4 years. And when they had an opportunity to come out, they decided to sit there. They decided that, you know what, God, where I got to go to is much harder than me staying here. Anybody feel like I'm going to stay in my mess because that's easier? And most of us have lived in relationships, lived in situations because it's easier.
You're telling the truth, man.
It's easier. Many of us don't eat healthy because it's cheaper to be unhealthy. But just tell your neighbor that in 40 years, though, it's going to...
That's true.
I'm a result of 40 years later. Because you know what, child? Because this is what my grandchildren, they go, Grandma. They make me. Grandma, were you always that big?
Oh my God. Children.
Why? I said no. As a matter of fact, no. When I was 15,
You were way back.
I couldn't back up or so far, you know, because listen, for the last few years, they've been knowing me as is, you know, and that's about how long I've been knowing myself, but, so that's how we knew each other. That's a child, because when I was 15, child, I was like 145 pounds now. So, let's look at this one, and we're going to wrap up. 2 Timothy 2:3-4, it says, suffer hardship with me as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Suffer with me, y'all. That word translated endure hardness, and it also means take thy share in suffering. So take your part in your suffering. Take it. Grab it. Know that this is what you're going to go through. Stop acting like it's a strange thing to you. Just take your part. Just take it on. Suffering is just a part of my lifestyle. It's part of what you're going to have to go through. So he says, listen, endure hardship or suffer with me. The authentic version says, take your part in the sharing. Why? Because in Genesis, we found out there's a penalty for the sin life that we live. Can somebody say amen? Take that on. That means you're going to have to fight through that part of you, because that part of you is real. And that part of you seem to be resurrected quite a bit through circumstances and difficulties. We talk about resurrecting. We don't live in the resurrecting power of God that calls us to overcome. Oh no, we raise up that part of us, that part, that hardness, that we stand and say, nobody gonna change me. Nobody's gonna get over on me again. I'm not gonna ever trust nobody. I'm not gonna ever do this. He says, listen, take your part. And what I'm gonna have to do through you, because of the hardness of your heart, I'm going to have to let you I'm going to have to inject some suffering just to show you that that's not it. Paul said it this way. Paul says that in my flesh, there is this thorn, and I don't want it there. It's uncomfortable to me. It's painful to me. But he said, but what I know is that there's a grace, a strength, an overflow that's on your life. That's going to cause you to push through it. There's a grace and an overflow that's on your life. That's why the shepherd said, I'm going to prepare a table before you so that you can see what your opponents are, so that you can see who your enemies are. But in the midst of it, I'm going to give you an overflow strength to be able to push through it. Jesus. And so now he says, no soldier in active duty entangles himself in the affairs of everyday life. No soldier that's actively fighting will get caught up in your day-to-day. No soldier that understands that there's a warfare that you're in will get, but that's why when you see soldiers and they go out to the land where they're battling, right? And they don't have all of the extras in life. They don't have the television. They don't have the things that they need, right? Because no soldier that's out on the battlefield that's fighting has all of the markings of everyday life. If you and I want to keep our everyday life existence the same, then I want to tell you that you're not walking in the art of warfare where you know your opponent. Because there's some things in our lives that's got to change. Just tell your neighbors, got to change. There's some things that's going on that you cannot do the same. There's just some things that God is causing for you and I to know in our life that we cannot keep doing it the same. So he says, no soldier in active duty entangles himself in the affairs of everyday life so that he may please the one who enlisted him as a soldier. And so how many of you know that in the next few verses, he used the metaphor of a farmer and a soldier. He began to start saying that nobody who know that they've been enlisted as who God has called them to be will be entangled with the things that's going on in your day-to-day. God has called you a